Joining us now is New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. Governor, welcome to Fox News Sunday.
Morning, brother.
Sir, I want to start with the CDC External review out this week finding deficiencies in their COVID-19 response. They admitted they have at times put out confusing guidance, to say the least. Now they're planning an overhaul to become a more rapid response public health agency. You've been a governor navigating this pandemic. Is that enough for you? Do you think with this they can rebuild public trust?
Do we really need a taxpayer-funded external review to determine that the CDC is all over the place? I mean, for the last 2 years, they say one thing, they do another. They tell us one thing privately, they do another. These guys have been constantly backtracking. And so I guess the only good takeaway here is they're acknowledging it. I think they're starting to realize that we are really out of this pandemic. We're moving forward as a country. Local control and local decisions are best made by parents and families. And so, you know, are we going to have COVID surges coming? Of course we are, but we have those tools now. We have the vaccine, we have therapeutics, we have all these tools in our toolbox now. So yeah, I guess it's great that they're finally acknowledging it, but it's something that the rest of America has acknowledged for the last 18 months.
Yeah, and the reason I talk about public trust, sir, is because it's only a few months ago that the CDC director also came out and said, listen, when we said to follow the science, we never said the science was exact. And my response would be, well, you kind of did say the science was exact, and those who failed to comply were all listed as, at least from the left, were all listed as public health threats.
Look, when officials come out from the national government and talk about science, there's an implied understanding, as a guy that went to MIT and you know, studied a lot of science and engineering, when you say the word science, you're saying data, you're saying we know what's happening, we understand it, and here's the response that we need. You cannot come back out and say something totally different down the road, because most importantly, we don't want to have the CDC people have no trust in the CDC. We don't want that, but unfortunately that's where we are today. As a governor, I was on those calls with the CDC director. We're on the calls with the White House. We'd hear one thing on the phone, something totally different would happen the next week. Mass confusion. And so as governors, during the height of the pandemic, we really had to buckle down and do what was best for our citizens and make our decisions. We kind of listened to what they said. Okay, I hear you, but this is what we're seeing on the ground, and we had to make decisions for our citizens. I think overall governors did a very, very good job, at least in the red states. I can't speak for some of those blue states with all the excessive lockdowns, because again, they just kept doing whatever the White House and the CDC was telling them one week and then shifting the next week, eroding trust with what should be a really responsive branch of government.
Yeah, and you talked about children earlier. The CDC is also out with new COVID guidelines for schools just as kids head back to the classrooms. They no longer recommend routine testing for grades K through 12, unless, of course, community transmission is high. Do you support that change, Governor?
Yeah, look, the locals and schools and parents have to make the decisions for themselves. I live in New Hampshire. We're the live free or die state. We believe in local control. We believe in schools making those decisions for themselves, not having the federal or even the state government come down and push certain answers onto them and certain protocols onto them. So especially where we are now, knowing that we have all these tools in the toolbox, knowing that folks are working collaboratively with their school districts, collaboratively with parents to understand what these issues are. Yeah, local control is definitely the right approach.
Yeah, and the other major back-to-school story this week is the big teacher shortage in the U.S. nationally. We're talking about 280,000 countrywide, fewer teachers than there were before the pandemic. But it's interesting because in New Hampshire, in your state, you have actually renewed more education credentials this year. So what is exactly driving the trend nationally, and what are you doing different in New Hampshire to have different results, sir?
Well, nationally, whether it's teachers, nurses, there's a couple of professions here that are just absolutely burnt out. And we understand that nationally after what's happened over the past couple of years. In New Hampshire, we're different. We really if you may, on that local control. We work collaboratively. We don't fight it. You know, we put more dollars in public education for students than ever before, and we pass school choice, right? And we're creating more opportunities for kids in public schools to get credentialed in a workforce type environment that they want to enter into. We're not just doing things traditionally. And when you support that local aspect and you inspire creativity, you let teachers have some say working with those parents, local control is really the answer. Anytime the government gets gets overly involved in education, it normally doesn't go well. And so we take that kind of pushback approach. We believe in parents and teachers. Teachers would now want to be here. We're the only state in New England that's actually growing in population. Businesses are flooding in. So, we've really focused on the individuals, individual towns, individual schools. That allows, I think, the kind of rising tide floats all boats here in New Hampshire. And that's why, look, we have the strongest economy in the country. In the first quarter of 22, we were one of the only states with a positive GDP. So everything is driving forward in a positive direction. We don't get caught up in the overly political aspects of things. Glenn Youngkin had it right. Parents matter, right? And teachers matter. They all matter, and they have to work collaboratively. We've been able to foster that here, and we're very proud of the fact that we've been able to actually increase the number of teachers over the past couple of years.
Interesting you used the phrase creating opportunity. I want to get your take. What do you make of Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' proposal to recruit military veterans and first responders without teaching degrees to help fill those vacancies down in Florida?
Look, I love the idea of focusing on military, focusing on veterans, focusing on folks with real-world experience. You get them into those classrooms, you get them into a job, you go through the credentialing process. There are states out there where if you want to be a teacher, it literally takes years to be credentialed, even if you've been one before, right? Because they have their whole process and rigmarole. So streamlining the regulatory and permitting and certification processes, whether it's teachers or manufacturers, that's an opportunity that every state has. We're doing it here. We're streamlining our whole thing. I think our reciprocity we have with places like Massachusetts and Maine and Vermont makes it very easy for folks to come over the border, which is one of the reasons why we're growing. So I love the concept. The country has workforce shortages. Let's stop allowing government get in the way of getting these people on the floors, in these classrooms, whatever it has to do to give them a job and get kids or get the product out. And that's what it's all about. It's not about the system. It's about the kids.
Yeah, I want to change gears here to the midterms, to New Hampshire politics. Incumbent Democrat Senator Maggie Hassan is up for re-election. The GOP primary weeks away. Right now, polling has retired General Don Baldock leading. You said this week that Baldock is a conspiracy theorist who really threatens your party's chances at winning back the seat. Are you concerned? Is there a worry in your party that the GOP could be missing out on a golden opportunity here?
Well, Senator Hassan's going to lose in November. There's no doubt about that. She has spent $25 million. Her approval rating hasn't moved. I hope she spends $100 million of the Democrats' money because it's going to go up in flames here. We have seen other races across the country. We've seen national discussion that when you elect the wrong individual, it makes it much harder to win in November, right? You have to have good candidates, quality candidates at the end of the day. Whether you're running for the planning board, you're running for governor, U.S. Senate, or president, you got to get quality candidates that can cross the line. Winning in a primary is nothing. Means nothing. You can't govern if you don't win in November. And that's all that matters. And I focus on winners, and I want the best candidate that can win. I want the candidates that have the best shot at beating Maggie Hassan to make our lives a little easier. And so that's why, I'm focusing on other candidates, frankly, because I don't want to happen to New Hampshire what we've already seen happen in other states where that gap becomes just too big. You're seeing it in Pennsylvania, unfortunately, in Georgia. I still think those Republican candidates can win. I think they're good candidates, but they're having a much harder time of it than they frankly should have in what should be a wipeout year. Nationally, the problem is this. We are talking about things that don't matter to the voters. The voters care about kitchen table issues. They care about high prices. Yeah. They care about inflation. They care about, having options for their kids in schools. And we're still, Mar-a-Lago is a very important issue, and January 6th, what happened there is very important. But those aren't driving folks to the polls. Those aren't driving folks in the voting booth. And so we got to get back in social media, and our kitchen table discussions. And if we do that, Republicans across the board can be very successful.
Yeah, you talk about, politics here. Former Vice President Mike Pence visited New Hampshire this week. So did Republican Senator Tom Cotton. Yeah. Take a look. A huge roster of potential 2024 candidates have visited your state in recent months. It's a great state. To wonder why they're coming. We're talking to Liz Cheney. Go ahead.
Yeah, there's a couple outside the studio waiting to talk to me right now. No,
I'm sure there are. We got Chris Christie, Ted Cruz, Nikki Haley, Mike Pompeo, Tim Scott. The list goes on. It's a long way to 2024, getting a bit crowded in the Grand Estate. They're knocking on the door trying to get you to help them. What do you make of this? Have you talked to anybody about why they're coming to New Hampshire?
Oh, yeah. No, I talked to all the candidates that want to come. I'll happily sit down with all of them. But my focus is this. If we don't close the deal in 2022 as Republicans across this country, you don't close this deal in 22, 24 ain't going to matter. We got to start focusing on closing this deal, making sure we cross the finish line with good candidates, winning back the Senate. I think we're going to get the House, but the Senate, instead of being a guaranteed 54, is New Hampshire could be that 51st vote now. And I think it's going to be. But we really got to make sure we close the deal. The other issue is you got to how we campaign here is a little different. You got to look people in the eye. The running joke in New Hampshire is, hey, you're going to vote for President Trump? Well, I don't know. I've only met him twice, right? You got to be able to integrate with folks on a one-on-one level in their living rooms, in their businesses. And if you do that, you can be very successful. I'm kind of like the referee, if you will.
The referee who's also very popular in his state. It looks like your race is going very well. My question to you is, have you talked with any donors about 2024?
You mean in terms of what? Like who they're going to be supporting? Yeah, donors come up all the time and say, well, what do you think of this candidate or that candidate? Yeah.
Maybe you're running for something else, Governor. I mean, are you concerned? You have all these people coming in and they've all said the same thing. You know, if Chris Sununu runs for president, that changes the whole dynamic, right? It changes everything when you talk about visiting and things. It is true.
Yeah, look,
no.
No, look, it's all flattering. People are talking. I get it. But 22, that is my message to everyone in this country. Stop worrying about 24. Stop worrying about who's running for president. Let's all focus, get out, knock on doors, pick up the phones. That has to be done. Then we'll have plenty of time for 22. And as we all know, politics moves quickly. The political landscape today is going to be totally different just 1 year from now. And even that will be 6 months before the first in the nation primary of New Hampshire. So we got a long way to go.
Yeah, you have often said, you mentioned January 6th, you mentioned Mar-a-Lago, you have often said that you are not anti-Trump, but many have also said you have been somewhat of a thorn in the former president's side. And while he was in New Hampshire, former Vice President Mike Pence touched on the backlash after the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago. Here he is. Watch.
Yeah.
Our party stands with the men and women who serve on the thin blue line at the federal and state and local level. And these attacks on the FBI must stop. Calls to defund the FBI are just as wrong as calls to defund the police.
What do you make of the search of Mar-a-Lago, sir, and of this fierce backlash?
So a couple things. I think the biggest issue is what we've all been talking about, the fact that when you're going to go into a former president's house, yet clearly Biden and Garland, they had no strategy, no anticipation about saying we're going to take unprecedented action, so we better have an unprecedented plan for disclosure. And the fact that we're weeks in now, they're not showing any cards, they're not showing anything, the lack of transparency, it's infuriating. And that is where they have absolutely blown it, and that's where they've lost the trust of the American people, because it just looks political. They didn't strategize. I get this whole thing that, well, you don't want to disclose things if it's an active investigation. That should have been thought out before. If they didn't anticipate this type of response from the American people, well, they're morons. They really are. They're absolute fools, because you cannot walk into a former president's home, raid his home like that, and then say, well, we'll get back to you later. Not acceptable to the American people. So I think Vice President Pence, Mike Pence, he's, by the way, great guy, has done did a phenomenal job as vice president, and he's absolutely right. We shouldn't be talking about defunding police and FBI. We're Republicans. We support law enforcement every single time. But the strategy at the top has been a disaster, and they have to own that.
New Hampshire Governor Chris Sununu. Governor, thank you for your time this weekend. We appreciate it.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.